I'm telling you, man. I listen. I have gone. We've all gone through the ups and downs of this season, and there are moments where we literally, as Knicks fans, do not know what to think. There are moments where it's like, yeah, like they're this 50 plus win team. They're going back to the playoffs, and it's like we as Knicks fans, especially adult Knicks fans, have witnessed this team just shit the bed and do terrible things, be this incompetent laughingstock year after year for decades, and like we should be happy about where we are and just appreciate this, but like we can't, right? Because we're New Yorkers or Jersey over here. We're East Coasters, I guess, and we just it's just in our DNA. And sometimes we're like, yeah, but what's next? But what's next? But what's next? And I want to really quickly, before we dive into this show, because we didn't really get to do that and give them a quick shout when they did win their 50th game a couple of days ago, a week ago now, because it was a shorter episode. It was, I wanted to get it out of the way, and I didn't feel like it did enough justice because I didn't even bring it up in the show. But yeah, they won their 50th game again. A few eps back, I think it was against the Bulls. But I am very appreciative of this franchise being where it is at this point, and I do think we should acknowledge that. But at the same time, I also understand like it's go time. It is April 10th, 2026 as I record this. And I'm telling you right now, as much wavering and as much ups and downs as I've endured in my emotions and my thought process about this team, I've never gone away from the fact that I always thought they could do it all. That's never been something that left my mind. Like I never my fandom this season did I tell myself this Knicks team is never going to win. I always left the possibility open because I'm always going to feel like the ceiling for this team is very, very high. And as I watch this team conclude their regular season, and it's not about the 4 wins in a row. It's not about them getting to 52-28 and having an outside shot at the 2 seed and whatnot, whatever. No, it's just about the way that they're now playing basketball. Unlike anything we've seen from this team earlier in the season, in the middle of the season, later in the season. But this last like week or two, you're seeing the vision come together 100% with just the way they're playing basketball. Right? It's no longer this feel good story. It's not happy to be here, but I'm talking battle tested, playoff ready, go take it. All season long, we've asked the questions, can they generate offense versus this team doing it this way in this lineup? Can they handle switches? Can they win when it slows down? All this stuff. We're starting to get more and more answers slowly. And as I always like to say, progress is almost never linear. But I'm really, really starting to feel confident that in this Eastern Conference, why not the New York Knicks, who were the favorites heading into the season? They've got Jalen Brunson, who's a top 10 player in this league. At the very worst, you can call him a top 15 player. I still think he's a top 10 player. You've got Karl Anthony Towns as his 1B, and I think that's a damn good one, as controversial as that might sound to certain people. Brunson controlling everything, Towns forcing impossible decisions on defenses. When they work together, they force decisions that are beyond impossible. A rotation that has so much flexibility, they can go 5 out or they can go double big. They can punish you every single trip down the floor if they're bought in. And I have no worry that they're not going to be bought in by playoff time. I just think they know how to process this thing. They know how to go about it. They know when to turn it on. That might be a thing that we didn't like during the regular season. When can they turn it on? When can they turn it off? Are they a type of team who can do that? That's fair. But I do think they're going to turn it on in the playoffs. So, people can keep sleeping. People can keep doubting. People can keep bringing up the past. But if you've been watching closely, you know. The Knicks are in the postseason picture. At the very, very least, can we stray away from these super high expectations in these super pessimistic takes, and can we just admit they have a great shot? It's not crazy to say I think the Knicks have a great shot of coming out of the East. And to be fair, I'll say the same thing. They also have a shot at being booted, because that's the way this team has operated all year. Right? The floor is a bit low. It's all just dependent on if everything clicks at once. I'm starting to get cliche, and I don't like that. But my point here is the ceiling remains very high, and the ceiling remains one of the highest ceilings in the league. All right, so I want to talk about this win. Let's get into it. This is a 52-28 Knicks team that just won their 4th in a row. They are 2 back of the 2 seed, if you still care about that. But more importantly, they separated themselves from Cleveland by a game from the 4th seed. Cleveland plays tomorrow night, as do the Knicks. It's a back-to-back. Or technically that's tonight, because it's past midnight as I'm recording. But the Knicks win this game 112-106 against the Boston Celtics at the Real Garden. And it was a game that had all the emotions, man. In the first quarter, now, you could tell me all you want how important or unimportant this game is. Boston didn't really care too much for it. You could tell me all that stuff. The Knicks maybe won a little. I don't care. The way this game was played, both teams cared to some degree, and it felt like a playoff atmosphere. You could tell both teams wanted this shit down the stretch. But in the first quarter, the Knicks come out hot. It's a 7-0. It's a 7-0 run out the gate. All 7 points from Mikal Bridges. Boston climbs back in it. They take a lead late in the first quarter. Some of the Knicks' point of attack defense was not great. Their switches weren't exactly clean, so that was allowing easy paint touches and baskets down there. But then Brunson gets hot, gets to the line, knocks down a couple threes. The Knicks go back up. And it's a close game throughout. Eventually, you get to the third quarter, the Knicks take a 13-point lead. And it looks like, okay, they might pull this one away, but of course, they don't. Boston goes on this big run. I think it was 17-5. It was a 15-point turnaround. Maybe even extended to an 18-point turnaround at some point. They were up a few points after the Knicks had a 13-point lead in that same quarter. Giving the Knicks a tough time on the glass, tough time in transition, tough time in half-court pick-and-roll defense. But guess what? The Knicks never wavered. They never let this thing get away. And by the time the fourth quarter came around, they got a guy named Josh Hart. And that guy freaking took over. And we'll touch on him a little bit later because he was a huge part to this win, especially in the second half. OG Anunoby finishes with 13 points. Mikal finishes with 10 points. 4 for 4 shooting, 2 for 2 from 3. 6 assists, no turnovers, a plus 17 in the box score. Great defense, 31 minutes played. The unsung hero. Jordan Clarkson, 8 points. Jalen Brunson 25 points, 10 assists, a turnover, a +8 in the box score, 37 minutes. And Karl Anthony Towns, 16, 12, and 4, couple of steals. What do you think I'm going to touch on first? That's right. Listen, it's been a conversation all year for a big reason. Because the Knicks will live and die by their two best players. The glue of this Knick offense, which is the glue of this team, that's how they're going to win a championship if they do, by offense. The glue of this Knick offense is built on Brunson Towns' actions when they are guarded straight up and not cross-matched. And we are now seeing day by day, as every day goes by and every tick on the clock, how fluid this offense looks when those two guys are able to play off of each other and they don't have to go away from it because a wing is on Cat and the big's on Josh. Because when Towns has the center on him and he and Brunson run action together, oh boy, are there so many options to go to out of that. That's where the Knicks get their offense from. I'll say it again. When Towns has the center on him and he and Brunson run action together, well, guess what? If the defense switches it, Towns has a post up versus the small off the pick and roll. Or Brunson isolates in space against the center off the pick and roll. But if the defense doesn't switch it and they play drop, then Cat maybe has an open pick and pop 3 with all that space. Maybe he attacks the space off the catch to do that pump and go when he's driving downhill on the big that he likes to do. Or he'll roll into space downhill on the big with momentum going at him. That's unstoppable. Or he'll use the big being up on the perimeter as a way to hit back-cutting guards to an open paint because there's no rim protector down there because he's got to worry about Cat's three-point shot. Or Brunson will get to the open lane if the point of attack defender falls behind off the screen since they're not switching it. There are so many different options you can get out of a Brunson-Cat pick and roll when Cat's got the big. And so after this game ended, the first thing I did was go to NBA.com, go to the box score, and click on each and every bucket that Brunson and Cat had, and I downloaded the majority of them on my tablet here, and I'm going to go through these, and we're going to break them down for a little. Because that's what I feel like I need to keep pressing into Knicks fans' heads. Because this is important, because, again, this is how they're going to win a championship if they do. I'll go over a couple of Cat's buckets first, and then we'll go over a few of Brunson's buckets, both coming off of actions where they involve each other. You had one late in the second quarter. Towns gets a bucket. It's a basic pick and roll between Brunson and Towns. The Celtics switch it, which leaves Towns with a small. It was Walsh. It's an easy post finish for him. This is it right here. Pick and roll. Towns gets the wing off the pick and roll. Brunson goes right to him. Towns just going to overpower him. Couple dribbles, hop, step, finish. And one. That is how this thing gets done. Play it one more time. There's the switch. Brunson's got the big. Towns has the small. Either way works. Brunson, immediate post hit. Makes the entry. And there's your post isolation for Cat. One dribble, two dribbles, hop, finish. Easy. In the middle of the third quarter, another Towns bucket. It's another Brunson-Towns pick and roll. The Celtics don't switch it. And they have Vooch in high drop. So Brunson makes the pocket hit to Towns, who attacks Vooch on the roll with all that space that was created from the coverage. Here's that right here. There's no switch. He's behind. The big's in a high drop. Cat's going to attack the high drop. His momentum going all towards Vucevic. He's got no shot. Easy finish. One more time, we'll run it through here. Just so easy. So easy. Another possession. This one was late in the fourth quarter. Another Towns basket. The Celtics stay in drop again. They don't switch it, which opens up the pop for Towns. So it's a Brunson Towns pick and pop here. Towns gets a wide open three from the coverage. I'm going to play that right here now. But I like to see Towns take more of these pick and pop threes instead of doing what, again, he likes to do, which is do that pump and go as the big closes back out. A lot of the time we'll put it on the floor and try to attack. But here, I really liked what I saw. He takes the pop. So here's the pick and pop. The Celtics are not going to switch it, so that's going to open up the three-point window. Because if they switch it, the big's right there. He doesn't have to, there's no fighting. So they don't switch it. Derek White's on Brunson. Kata's in drop on the ball side of the action. So because he's in drop, Brunson makes the pop pass. Cat's wide open. No hesitation. He takes the three this time. That is what we want to see from him more. That's a big conversation about Cat. He's such a great big man shooter. Why is his volume consistently low, right? So that was nice to see. Taking that three with Kata in a deep drop there. And then you had some buckets that Jalen Brunson got tonight from the Brunson Towns pick and roll. There was one early in the first quarter. Brunson Towns pick and roll. The Celtics don't switch it. So Brunson turns the corner, gets his point of attack defender on his back, forces the big into the action at the rim, and he's just too nifty, too crafty. It's an easy basket for him every single time. And I want to play that one right here. Brunson Cat pick and roll. There's Brunson's man. He's behind him off the screen. So now Brunson gets the drop big in coverage here. He's just going to go right around him at the basket, left-handed finish, off the glass. Another Brunson basket late in the second quarter I want to point out here. This time the Celtics stay in high coverage, high drop, but still don't switch the action. So once Towns' screen puts the point of attack defender behind, there's no big waiting at the lane for Brunson. So it's an easy floater. Play that right now. So here's your big. Vooch is in a high coverage now. He's not in drop, so there's going to be nobody once Brunson gets to the lane because his man's behind. Big's not in drop, so there's nobody at the basket except for low man Tatum. But doesn't provide much resistance. It's an easy floater for Jalen Brunson. And then there was one that I don't have in the clip, but that isolation that Brunson got on Kata down the stretch, 2 minutes left, the Celtics are up one, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it was that jumper he knocked down over Kata off of a Brunson Cat pick and roll. So it's just like it speaks for itself, but it is such a well-oiled machine, this offense. Like when the Knicks are able to run offense the way it was designed to, and they use their two stars in ways that actually optimize them, especially Cat, it's beautiful. And my only hope is that in the playoffs, if and most likely when defenses guard them differently than they did tonight, and they cross match and they put a center on Hart, and that center roams, and they have a wing on Cat, and that wing switches to pick and roll, my only hope is that when that happens, the Knicks have a counter by committing to rotations that still allow the Knicks to freely run Brunson Cat. And what are those rotations that allow that? 5-out rotations that force defenses to guard Cat traditionally and guard him straight up. That way you can go to the pick and roll. Because if you have a wing on Cat, Either Brunson's going to use Hart to run pick and roll, and now Cat's standing on the dunker doing nothing. Or you can use Cat to run pick and roll, but that's an auto switch. It's not really creating an advantage because you have a wing defender on both in some instances, right? So that's my only hope. Just commit to rotations that allow this to function. And it's just nice that, like, yes, the Knicks are finally seeing this come to fruition, this duo in the second half of the season. And it's nice that, you know, it's I talk a lot about Mike Brown needing to lean into this rotation, but I also do think there's more important factors to it too. For this duo to work offensively, you know, Brunson's got to be able to consistently hit Cat like this. He's got to make the reads on time. He's got to hit him on time. And he can't just default to isolating the center when he gets that switch. Sometimes hit Carl when he's got a small. And Cat, too, he needs to play with this type of activity all game like he did tonight. He needs to be active to come up and screen and to take the open three-point looks versus drop, etc. And Josh Hart. Josh Hart needs to continue to take the open three-point looks that he did tonight, especially when he's cross-matched with the center and he's left open in the pop or left open off the ball. It forces the defense to eventually, throughout the game, start closing out to you. Now, some defenses, probably the Celtics when they're healthy, if the Knicks do see them in the second round, if they get past the first, some defenses will live with Josh Hart taking open shots, and even if he's making them, they're still going to play that same ghost coverage, as some people call it, throughout the entire game. They won't close out to him. They'll just keep, helping off him. Now, at that point, you just have to hope he makes those shots. But that's why the Brunson Towns pick and roll is so important to go to more. I was actually kind of hoping the Knicks got reps versus cross matches in this game. I thought the Celtics were going to cross match, but I suppose since they didn't have Jaylen Brown in this game, that they didn't feel comfortable doing it. But the Knicks did go to some interesting three-man actions. What I really loved was one of the actions they went to at the very end of the game. This was the one with 2 minutes left. Boston's up one. It was this one. 2 minutes left. Celtics are up 1 point. On this possession, Brunson's coming up the court with the with the ball. But Boston finally takes Kata off of Cat. They finally do cross-match Josh Hart. So Kata's on Hart. Hart wants to screen for Brunson, but Brunson tells him, no. Go down to the basket. Set a down screen for Cat to come up because Cat's got Tatum. So Boston switches Kata to Brunson once that happens. While the point of attack defender goes over, Brunson makes it sick, just insane dart to Hart, who's under the basket at this point, for a bucket. Tatum rotates out of the action. Brunson makes that pass to Hart. Hart gets an open finish down low. Really, really good action. And then just throughout the second half, like in that third quarter, I should say, and you've been seeing it a lot in the second half of the season, where the Knicks are spamming double drags when Cat's at the four. Right? In those double big lineups, you've got Mitch and Cat screening for Brunson to open up the roll. It's been really effective, especially when defenses go to a high coverage, right? When they're at the level on these double drags, it's really effective because it opens up the corners when the low man tags down. Or if the low man stays home, that opens up the lane for the roll. Or even if the big stays with the roll, Mitch is just way too long and way too athletic anyway. He'll just throw it down like you saw tonight. But the Knicks, Brunson went to it a couple of times in the third quarter where the Knicks went to double drag, and it paid off. So that's something. And I'll continue to say the three primary core lineups the Knicks should play around should be, you know, Brunson Cat with 5 out, should be Mitch and Hart together to rebound and play physical and play in transition. And the third one should be, why am I drawing a blank? Oh, yeah, this one, the double big. Cat at the 4. Those are the three lineups you should be playing together. Those three. You build around those. I don't like when the Knicks blend. I don't like when Cat plays with Hart so consistently because I just feel like smarter, tougher defenses won't be cross-match or will be cross-matching. So that is something I think that's going to be very important to their playoff success, to not blend identities and lean into those three lineups. But let me tell you something, man. Josh Hart, as great as Brunson was and as good as Cat was, I'm giving Josh Hart the game ball for the 13th time this season. I thought Josh was fantastic. He finishes this game with 26 points. He shoots 10 for 15 from the floor, 5 for 7 from 3. He was a +6, played 35 minutes. Like I said, with him, confidence is everything. It's everything. If he's shooting his threes, I don't care if he's making them, but if he's getting those open threes up, just the fact that he's getting them up will change certain defenses' minds on how they defend him. And he's been making them this year, which is big. But he was huge in this game. I know he had a tough first half. His interview with Hahn after the game on the court was hilarious. But he comes through big down the stretch, especially in the fourth quarter, where he goes for 15 points, 6 for 7 shooting, and he knocks down all 3 triples. But the energy that this guy brings is just insane. You know, I give him criticism. A lot of Knicks fans give him criticism, and a lot of the time it is over the top with it because this guy is such a big part to this team. You know, and sometimes in basketball, which is, it's not baseball, where it's not totally a numbers game, we do forget that, you know, that I hate to be cliche, not cliche, but I hate to be, that heart does matter. You know, having heart and grit, that is important. And he is the guy who does bring that. So Josh Hart is very important to this team, and in no way do I dislike him as a player. I'll say it again. He's not my favorite player. I think it'd be disrespectful to call him my favorite player after all the criticism I will give him. But it's never like about him. It's just about the certain lineups he's in. But tonight it worked because tonight he wasn't guarded with the center and he was shooting with confidence, and it's so big. So it was great to have him put on this performance as he continues to be the glue to this team. And then you go to the second unit, and Clarkson had some moments, but he also had some moments. And Deuce McBride's still struggling to find his shot. And why am I forgetting somebody? Who am I forgetting? Shamet he's kind of been for a while just like not even here. I don't even remember the time this guy had a memorable performance, unfortunately, and that sucks. But I guess that goes with, you know, who he is. With that all said, I'm going to hand the game ball from the second unit to Mitch Robinson. I thought Mitch was great. Now, the numbers weren't good. They're not going to stand out. 7 points, 7 boards, 3 steals and a block, 19 minutes. But if you watch this performance, especially his defense, it was exceptional. And what was a concern earlier on in the season, his athleticism, and if all the injuries took a toll on his body, that's kind of gone. He's been really good perimeter defense. He's been fantastic on his switches. And you go back and watch the film from this game, you'll find a couple of possessions where he was burnt on a few switches. But you'll also find a number of possessions where he was forcing three-point misses, forcing turnovers, forcing jump balls, forcing a pass out. Really good switches for Mitch onto smalls, onto wings, holding his own. And that was awesome to see. The only part of Mitch's performance, not even Mitch's performance, but the only part of the game I didn't love was, again, Mike Brown going back to this new rotation that he's added where he uses Mitch at the top of the second and fourth quarter over Cat. And he's playing Cat and Brunson more together, which you like because you can go more Brunson-Cat like we've been seeing. But I don't like not staggering them at the same time because those minutes at the top of the fourth quarter are really tough to watch. The offensive process is not great. It's kind of freelancey. And then you can be pretty small in some of those lineups too. But Mitchell Robinson was undoubtedly the best player in the second unit last night or tonight. 22nd game ball of the season. It continues to be such a key piece of this team. I was going to say he was the glue. See, there's so many guys, I guess you could say, are the glue. It's kind of cliche. But Mitch was fantastic. And I think that's it. I think we'll wrap this one up here at 32. So when we get back, we'll talk about what's coming up to wrap up the rest of this regular season. Stay with us. We will be back in just a sec.
Quick break here, guys. Stay connected with BD4 on social media. Follow us on Instagram and X at BD4Pod, and find us on Facebook by searching BD4. Don't miss out. Join the conversation. Want more BD4? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and never miss an episode. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and share with your fellow fans. Don't forget to ring that bell so you're always the first to know when a new video drops. Love BD4 but don't have the time to sit down and watch? Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a 5-star rating and a quick review. It helps us grow and keeps the conversation going.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to episode 1035 of BD4, talking New York Knicks as they beat the Celtics. Big time. Not big time, but 105-103 was the final score. 112-106. Nice try. Yeah, this whole thing, I know this whole graphic on the screen on the right side has been incorrect the entire episode, by the way, so sorry about that. I never got to edit it. I just kind of wanted to get this show up quickly. But, yeah, your final score was not that. It was 112-106, so ignore all those stats if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify and not listening. But with that said, the Knicks win and take down the Celtics, Buck Foston. And up next for the Knicks, they wrap up the season with their second of the back-to-back tomorrow against the Raptors, and then a Sunday game against the Hornets, both games being at the Garden. So they got a chance to clinch home seed against the Raptors tomorrow night. And that's a team the Knicks completely own, so let's hope that continues. No trivia tonight. Didn't have the time to put one in. Just wanted to get this episode up because, again, it is the first of a back-to-back, so it's going to have a short shelf life. But I do appreciate everybody for tuning in, if anybody is, and I will see you in the next show. Go Knicks. Hey guys, thank you for listening to BD4. Be sure to follow us on social media, subscribe to us on YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time.